All right, welcome back, Scott. I know you joined us for a webinar yesterday, so hopefully you can glean some more information today that's helpful to you. The purpose today is just to share with you some ideas for free tools that are out there that you can use for virtual learning. And so hopefully these tools will, at least one of them, be something that you can utilize right away, that you'll find pretty easy to use. And so we just want to kind of share them with folks, and hopefully you'll share them with others as well. I think probably, Scott, you're familiar with Zoom, but just a reminder, feel free to talk at any time, unmute your microphone if you like, and jump in. Don't worry about interrupting, that's fine, can be a conversation. And you're also welcome to share your video if you like. Totally your choice.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, sure thing. And we are going to do a poll here in just a few minutes, so that'll pop up on your screen and ask you a question, and you can just follow the directions to answer the question and submit your response. And of course, I have my chat window open, and a couple of my IU colleagues are with us, so we'll keep an eye on the chat if you want to communicate that way as well. Okay, so here is a question for you. Just wondering which of these tools you've already used, even if you just dabbled a little bit. So these are some of the tools that we've brought together in a list, and I'm just curious which ones you might have already used. Hopefully that poll is showing, yeah, there, I'm getting some responses, so hopefully that poll showed up for you. Okay, so it looks like you use Discovery Ed and Quizlet. The others
Yeah.
are new to you, or have you tried them and you just don't use them?
I haven't used them, and the only other one that I recognize on there is Kahoot.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, then I'm going to kind of shift the presentation then to show you some of those others that are on the list. This morning when I held this, the people who came had used quite a few of these, so I introduced some new ones. So I'm just going to kind of do an overview of many of these, okay?
Yep.
All right. So first I'd like to tackle though how you decide if a tool is the right one for you. So we'll talk over a little bit about choices, and then I'm going to feature, let's see, you're sixth grade, is that what you said yesterday, sixth grade level?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe I'll jump right to the intermediate level. The tool I recommend for an intermediate level teacher, and I'll hit on some of the others because they work across many levels, but I'll focus there so as not to waste your time. And then the last one there is capturing video. I do want to spend some time on that in case you are in the need of making a quick video that you can share with your learners. So when it comes to choosing a tool, just think about what your purpose is going to be, like what are you trying to achieve with that tool, and then look for one that fulfills that purpose. And I will say that there's usually not one tool that does everything, and if one claims to, it probably doesn't do everything well. But there are some tools that do multiple things that can streamline your connection with the students a bit, so that you're not having to manage multiple tools and they aren't either. So think about what your goal is and then choose a tool that will help you reach it. And you might want to reach out to some of your colleagues and see what they already use, because they might have some ideas and you could support one another. But also, if a colleague is already using a tool with their students and their students are already familiar with it, then that takes a little bit of a load off you to have to help students with that tool. So maybe just having a conversation with some of your colleagues, especially ones that are in grade levels younger than your grade level, because maybe kids have been using tools in earlier grades that they already know how to use, or maybe teachers have been. So it's worth a conversation with your colleagues, and don't forget that you can reach out to us at any time. Those of us who you see in the room here, we all have quite a bit of experience with these tools. We work with virtual teachers and students all the time, so we can be a resource for you. This checklist that's on the right is how I decided what to put on a list of recommended tools. So, and these are good questions to ask yourself when you're experimenting with tools. First of all, try to find one that's free, of course, and not just free right now for the next few weeks, but something that you can use long term, because if you're going to invest all this time and effort, you might as well have something that you can use beyond just this particular situation. And then which tool is going to do the most for you so that you don't have to use a lot of tools to accomplish your goal. Which tools are easy to set up, which ones are easy to use, and which ones make it really easy for you to connect with parents and parents to connect with you. And which ones will seem really user-friendly for the students so they don't have to rely on a lot of help for parents tech-wise. And then what tools are out there that will allow your students to see you, because that's going to be important. We talked yesterday about establishing a routine and making sure that there's a human connection still. So them just seeing you can be a big help. And then what gives your students a chance to interact with one another? That might be something they need at this point in time as well. So good questions to ask yourself when you're reviewing some tools and trying them out. And I'm going to skip over this one. This one, though, I will mention is called Class Dojo. Class Dojo is a tool that does a lot of things in one place. And there's another one like it that I'm going to jump to called Seesaw. So they both do pretty much the same thing. They both have an area where you can post announcements for your students. They both have an area where parents can communicate with you and you can with them. They both have a way for students to upload work, so they could build a portfolio, and the work can be photos, writings, text writings, handwritings, and video. So both do that. Both have an inbox feature where you can message parents directly. And then both Seesaw and Class Dojo have some ready-made activities that you can use with your students. Dojos are mostly about social emotional learning, whereas Seesaw's ready-made activities are about different content areas.
Yeah, I saw Seesaw this morning. I read an Edutopia article and decided to download it. And I was kind of looking through that.
Yeah.
You know, and it really, it's just, you know, just in case kind of a thing. That's where I'm at right now. I'm kind of in a holding pattern.
Right.
Been in the classroom 27 years.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of wait and see. Hopefully we're not Kansas.
Right. Right.
So, but if we are, you know, I'll have to wait and see what the directive is from the school district. But I don't want to jump the gun and
start adding kids and
start all this stuff, and then they're like, yeah, we're not doing that. We're going to do it over here, and so I still want to familiarize myself a little bit with it so that I'm not caught
completely
totally
unaware. Yeah. Well, so let's just look at it as an overview of what kinds of tools are out there. So Seesaw and Dojo are the types where you can do multiple things in one spot. And so the journal is like a portfolio. Students' work looks kind of like this. This is as though I'm looking at a sample student's portfolio, and there might be a list of things that show up here. And these could be activities that I've shared with them and then they complete and hand back in to me. Or it could be something that they authentically create and then upload or take a picture of. And both of these tools are very similar that way. You can post assignments or specific activities where you give very clear directions and they do something with that right on the screen.
Right.
And they both have that inbox, like I said. So these tools are sort of like your all-in-one classroom management tool. And I will say that both of these are handy once you do get back to the classroom too. If you start using these, they work well in a face-to-face environment too, just for that link to parents at least.
Yeah, or even kids that are absent.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if you have kids working at different places or at different levels in your classroom, and they can be working in Seesaw or in Dojo while you're working with other students,
Right.
and they can build that portfolio. So if you do end up using one of these, just know that they both do work well for, in the regular classroom as well.
And then to sign up the kids, you have to have an email for the kids. Is that how that works?
Well, not necessarily. So with both of them, you log
Or-
in, create your free account, and you name your classes, and then you get to decide how you want kids to access. They could do it through email, or you can give them a text code that they enter. They would
Okay.
download the app
Yep.
and then they would put in a certain code, or you can give them a QR code like I used on the first slide. The thing I
Right.
will say though is you probably, like you're waiting for your district's directive. And if your students are 13 and under, you should, if you're going to create accounts for your students and add them to your class, you need a permission slip to do that, usually from parents. I don't know how your district works. Some districts send home a blanket one at the beginning of the year saying you can do that to all educational apps, and some don't do that, and it's piece by piece. So that's
Well, yeah,
conversation.
yeah, they do send that home, and I think I forget exactly the wording on it, but because my kids are they're on Connect Ed through our EM4 math, and they're also on Pearson for science in sixth grade.
Yeah.
Um,
So
so
you might
I'm able to
want to
do
review
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just make sure you're in the right there. I know my district used to send home a blanket one, but it did list specific programs because it was, legally had to be very specific. But
Right.
it listed Dojo as one of them. So then I didn't need to get individual parent permission. It was part of the enrollment process. So you may have something already in place like that. Do
Yeah.
your students have email accounts?
Well, again, that goes back to
The age?
some have been doing Google. Some sixth grade classes have Google Classroom set up and everything else. Um, Me being of certain age, I did not do that. You
Okay.
know, but that's something that I mean, I know next year, like I said, with me going to the junior high in Altoona, every kid will have a Google account. So, um,
Yeah. That'll make things easier in this kind of a situation.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And so just know that Dojo and Seesaw are two tools that they just facilitate communication and portfolio building.
Right. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to skip forward a little bit here. And I'll post these slides on our website so that you have access to them, because I did put links on them to help articles and quick start guides for anything that I'm showing you.
Okay.
So
Great.
the one that I recommended for high school is called Edmodo. It really does a
Mhm.
lot of the same things that the other two do. It's like a whole learning platform. The difference is that this one just is a little bit more mature looking and mature in nature, and it has more grading features and more quizzing features and that sort of thing. So Edmodo is free also, and it always is. It has sort of a Facebook social feel to it.
Mhm.
So it's kind of familiar to kids when they're in it. And it works, inviting kids works much like the others do. You can share a group code, or you can invite them by email. And either way, any of these you can add parents to as well, once you have parent emails and parent phone numbers, which I'm guessing you probably have access to through your student information system.
Yep.
Okay. So another one is Screencastify. Now this is one for capturing, making videos, and Screencastify is a Google extension that you can add in to your Google Chrome browser. But how it works is you click, there'll be a little arrow icon in the top of your browser, and it's probably small on mine, but if you look up toward the top of my browser, you can probably see it. There's a little red arrow. It has number 4 next to it. But that's what you click to start a video. And then you just choose what you want to record, whether you want to record your screen or a tab or the whole desktop, and whether or not you want to include your face, the webcam. And then you click the record button and it's recording. So it's very simple. And when you're done recording, I have one that's finished here. When you're done recording, it will automatically upload it to Google Drive. I interrupted mine earlier, so that button's not there. But when you're done recording, it will automatically upload it to Google Drive for you. So you don't have to worry about exporting, converting, or anything like that. And then if you were using Google Classroom, or when you do, you'll be able to share the video right to Google Classroom from here. So it's really easy to plop a video into Google Classroom. Or you could upload it to YouTube, or you can get some embed code if you want to put it somewhere else. But probably you'd most likely use the share to classroom button.
Are you able to do that and then put it on a Seesaw thing? Or
Yeah, you could. Yep, because when it's done uploading to Google Drive, it's not going to show in my example here, but there will be a button here where it says retry on mine. There will be a button that says copy the link, and then you could just copy that link and put it in Seesaw.
Okay.
You could
Yeah,
add
like
it.
if I was doing a math a math lesson.
Yep.
And kind of go over the initial, this is how you do the problem, these are the steps, and then have that on there
Sure.
for them to watch.
Yep. Yep. You could definitely do that. And it's really easy to share it.
Okay.
So that's one you might want to look at, downloading that Chrome extension. And there is a 5 limit. Generally speaking, there's a 5-minute limit on your videos. So you want to keep that in mind. Now they're doing a special right now, I guess, where they're extending the time limitation, because their pro account, their paid account doesn't have that 5-minute limit, but right now they're giving that away. But I still would recommend keeping them under 5 minutes, just for student interest level, attention span. Keeping them short and chunked.
You're trying to send an hour and a half math classes and it doesn't keep their attention.
What's that?
I said, are you trying to say my hour and a half math class doesn't keep their attention?
Well, I'm sure you don't just drone on for that whole time. I'm sure you chunk it naturally anyway.
Yeah, I'm just kidding around.
Yeah, we used to track videos in my previous position. We used to track videos that were in courses, and it was lucky if kids made it to 3 minutes. Sometimes they would, sometimes they wouldn't go past, a minute. And so that really makes you prioritize your message or produce a series of small short snippets.
Right.
So you might want to check out Screencastify. I'm going to hop over to our website now, because and the page that has all of our resources, like all of these webinars announced. It's going. My browser's just a little slow at the moment. If you look under today's date, you'll see the blue button is the resource list for this webinar. So all of the other free tools that I found that you might be interested in are listed there. So if you click that blue button, you'll see some of those others we mentioned. So Edpuzzle lets you take videos, either that someone else created or that you created, and you can add questions to them so they're a little interactive, like the video would play for a bit, pull up a question, kids answer it, and then continue on with the video. So you can do checks for understanding and build a little interactivity in. That's what Edpuzzle's all about. You use Discovery already, so I'm gonna scroll past that.
Yep.
And Kahoot, you said you have used.
I'm familiar with it. I haven't used it, but my teaching partner has.
Okay. Yeah, so you can build some review activities in there, and there is a library of activities other people have built and shared, so you might find some resources. And right now they're running a special of free access to premium, which gives you just more access and a few more features. So
Yeah.
they are running that for schools right now who are affected by the closings. These are just some fun challenges. Breakout EDU, there's just a series of some fun activities they can do from home. It's kind of like solving clues in order to learn about a particular thing, a particular
Yeah,
topic.
yeah, I've done them with the STEM trainings that I've done.
Awesome. Okay. So there's some
Yeah.
digital ones.
Okay.
And so they're just links that you could share, like you could put into Seesaw or put into Google Classroom, and it's just some critical thinking.
Uh-huh.
Nearpod is where you can create lessons that are interactive. So you can build questioning and some on-screen interactives into your lessons. And there's also a bank of lessons that are produced by companies that are shared. And so there's some good lessons there that you might be able to find and use also. So you might want to explore Nearpod. Again, you could get a link to one of these lessons and plop it into your Seesaw, whatever, however you're communicating with students eventually.
Right, right.
So all of these tools in the end product provide you with a shareable link to whatever you produced or found. Flipgrid. Yeah, Flipgrid. Think of Flipgrid kind of like a discussion board. If you've ever taken classes where you've posted to a discussion board, the difference is that they are video based. So you could throw a prompt out there and students could respond by creating a video, and it's really super simple. And you can too create a video there, but it's like a bulletin board of videos all responding to a certain topic or conversation. So kind of, but they don't all have to be online at the same time. So it's kind of a nice way for them to see one another, but in a controlled situation.
Yeah, right.
And there's a few more here. Quizlet, that's one I think you mentioned.
Yep, I've used that. Yes, it's great for review.
Yeah, it is. There's so much there. Padlet, kind of like Flipgrid, where it's sort of like a bulletin board of ideas, content, but it's not all video based like Flipgrid is. So think of Padlet like post-it notes on a bulletin board, but what you put on that post-it note can be rich in media. So it could be text, could be videos that you share or make, could be I don't know, audio files, could be links to websites. So it's kind of like a place to post many notes and many activities for your students. Not necessarily like a learning management system where they can get graded and all of that. It's just sort of a sharing place, a central spot to share resources. And Epic, so your students haven't used Epic, or any of your colleagues use Epic? It's a place where they can read books online. Is that familiar to you?
Not that I know of, but I don't teach ELA, so.
Okay. Well, your
Yeah,
ELA teacher might. Okay. All right. Well, you can pass this along if you are talking with your ELA teachers or librarians, or even just your kids are looking for something to read. They can log in for free, and there are 35,000 things for them to read here. Kids love Epic. And some of the books are read to them, and so it's nice for that too.
I might go ahead and put that out there just on the 12 parents that I have for that are currently on my remind. Just hey, this is something that's out there, that I came across, and I just think a lot of people are just trying to figure out what to do with their kids at this point.
Yeah, just to keep them busy and keep them, thinking. So my 6th graders, especially in Epic, they loved the now of course wouldn't it escape me at this moment. The books look kind of like like Guinness Book of World Records. There's a whole series of those in Epic, and they loved those because they come with, sometimes there'll be, like they'll be reading the pages and there'll be a video that pops up that they can watch, and it's one of the things that made it into the record books. So Sixth graders especially kind of honed in on
Oh
those.
yeah.
Okay, so you can explore the rest of that topic list and share whatever you like with colleagues, parents, kids, and let us know if there's any other topics you'd like to know more about. We have some more webinars coming, so tomorrow's more about communicating tools. And then next
Yep.
week, there's on Tuesday, the webinar is about finding free content. So lots of lessons that already exist out there, so you don't have to recreate the wheel, how to find them. And then Thursday is specifically about Google Classroom. So if
Yep.
you want to see what that's all about, you can hop in on Thursday.
Yeah, like I said, just something to keep me connected and
Yeah.
start thinking about it anyway. I mean, like I said, I just saw that text message that came across to everybody about Philadelphia.
Yeah, I just saw that on the news.
I didn't see it. What was that?
Philadelphia is forbidding all remote instruction.
Are they?
Yeah, just because they can't ensure equity.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that's been unfortunate on people's minds. I don't know what that means.
Well, even
Well,
here, even like I've talked about, even in Altoona, I would have kids that could get on it and do very well with it. And then I know I have kids that don't have internet access.
Yeah.
And so it's not even Philadelphia, it's Altoona. And
Oh, it's everywhere. Yeah.
yeah, it's everywhere. And I would think that the other thing is, like I said, I don't want to get too ahead of myself because whatever